This is a guided mindfulness meditation on finding contentment and inner peace. As I so often ask you to do, if you have been a part of my other sessions, find a comfortable position, either seated in a chair, cross-legged on the ground, or even lying in bed if you can remain focused and present. You can choose to close your eyes or allow them to remain open until you find it helpful to close them. Throughout this session, all that you need to worry about is hearing the sound of my voice. If a distraction arises, just acknowledge it briefly, then return back to my voice. Remain in pleasant stillness and hearing the sound of my voice. As we begin, just continue to take natural and comfortable breaths through your nostrils, but drawing your attention to that air movement and the gentle movement of your chest. Notice how beautiful it is that we are constantly in the cycle of breathing, and yet rarely take notice of it. Just as we breathe subconsciously, so too can we find ourselves bringing about unnecessary worry and suffering. And yet, conversely, can train ourselves to recognize the moments that our mind tries to create a struggle, and subsequently realize the beauty of a still mind and body. Throughout our lives, we know that change is inevitable and constant. And yet, we often try to fight this tide of change, rejecting something that forces us into the unknown, or brings about a circumstance that causes us suffering. Although change, especially that which causes us pain, can be difficult or unwelcome, there is a means of finding beauty in our ever-present state of change and retain an inner stillness, even when the world around us is less than ideal. Continue to allow your mind to focus on this breathing exercise, retaining that focus on the breath and the sound of my voice. Peace and stillness, breath and voice. There is a mantra that I will ask you to focus on throughout this session. The mantra is, "This too shall pass." Why are these 4 words so important? The phrase is so simple, yet can be intensely profound in your understanding of it. Perhaps there was a time in your life when a circumstance caused you great struggle. You may have said to yourself, "This is terrible. I don't want this. I want it to go away." In those situations, it can be so important and beneficial to recognize the beauty of the passage of time and the healing that time can bring. This too shall pass. At other times in life, we may have moments that bring us profound joy and happiness. In these situations, we must also tell ourselves, "This too shall pass." You may wonder why we should think this in the happiest times, as well as sad. Won't that make me sad to know that the happy times will inevitably end, you might ask? But this recognition is not about being happy or sad. It is about a deep and powerful understanding of the nature of our reality. Imagine the possibility that instead of struggling to achieve those fleeting moments of joy through the perfect convergence of circumstances, that we have a means of finding an underlying contentment throughout all changes. Suddenly, the labels of good or bad have less power over us. We find ourselves afloat in a still and clear lake, instead of fighting against a rough and inevitable tide. You see, "This too shall pass" means that we find true contentment in the ever-changing present. And so, with this in mind, let's now allow ourselves to deeply focus on this concept. Continue to comfortably breathe and also recognize your chest moving gently in and out, very naturally, very calmly. Remember that stray thoughts or distractions are perfectly normal and all a part of this constant change. Therefore, we do not fight against it, but recognize it and brush it away. And as we settle deeper into the state of contentment and acceptance of ever-present change, let's retain those thoughts as we count slowly down, starting at the number 5. 5. This too shall pass. 4. Clarity, presence, and stillness. 3. This too shall pass. 2. Clarity, peace, and stillness. 1. This too shall pass. Allow yourself to sit in this stillness for as long as you wish to continue, taking a few moments just for you. Gentle, relaxing breath, the movement of the chest, remembering the ever-present change of all things. This too shall pass.